Namaste, namaste, and welcome to this short autumnal practice. So today I'm going to share with you something quite gentle, kind of limbering aspects to it, rather than defined yoga poses or a yoga flow. But this is a great daily practice at this time of year. So we're going to start with some movement because the energy of the season is lots of fluctuation, lots of change, lots of windiness. We're going to start with the feet nice and wide apart and just soften the knees ever so slightly, bounce into the knees a little so you feel a strong connection into your feet. And then when you're ready, you can bring yourself more to center, activate a gentle lift through the belly muscles and twist from side to side. To begin here in Kati Chakrasana, we're just going to let the body go where it naturally goes. So we're not trying to do anything in particular. The only thing that we're really initiating is this sense of twist. And then we let the body follow its natural pattern. And sometimes in yoga, it's good to do that, to sort of see where you are at the beginning of your practice, rather than trying to impose where you'd like to be or where you think you ought to be. You can begin to soften your shoulders a little. Relax the elbows, wrists, and fingers. Let the arms wrap around the body and tap the body wherever they fall. And here you can keep your head centered if you get dizzy, but if you're able to, let your head just follow the movement. It's nice to let the arms get away from the body and then come back into tap. They have a little bit more force, as long as you feel that's comfortable on your body, not too intense. Nothing painful, we want to avoid that, obviously. And then when you're ready, you can begin to keep your hips still and try to make that movement more with just the upper body. So you need to press into the feet and use the buttocks, the strength of the legs, use your abdominal muscles. You might even like to look a little bit further round. So you use your neck as you turn. And here, allowing the hands to tap in that space between the shoulders and the collarbones, at the front of the body, and behind the body anywhere on the rib cage. And then when you're ready, you can free your feet. Slow the movement down. Let it become more gentle. And here we're going to also add a little bend in the knees, a bounce and twist, bounce and twist. And feel that you're able to release into the heels as you bounce so that you don't come forwards. You're just dipping down. You don't have to go far. And you can do this even if you're not pivoting on your toes. You can give yourself a little bounce, helping to warm up the muscles in the legs, which helps to warm us up in general. Very good. And then we're going to turn this into a sideways movement. So we're going to reach the arms across the body as we reach the opposite foot away. So just pointing that foot away, arms come across the body. We're going to work a little bit higher. So those arms begin to come a little bit higher, go wherever you're comfortable to go. If you can get your arms either side of your head, then that's fine. It doesn't matter how close together they are. And then you might begin to step that pointed foot slightly behind. So you get a sense of coming into that bend and then doing a little gentle back bend with a side stretch as well. And then you might like to float that back foot off the floor if it feels good to do that. If not, just go back to one of the previous incarnations, variations. And we'll do two more to each side. Also a feet of balance. And then just bringing your feet back to center, swaying slowly back to the middle. As you come to stillness, arrange yourself a little bit taller. Drop your shoulders down, maybe close your eyes if you feel comfortable doing so. Observe the effect of your practice. Hopefully you feel an increase in heart rate, maybe breath rate as well, a sense of energy thrumming or humming through the body. Sigh to release anything that comes up when you practice. And then when you're ready, you can open your eyes and just roll your shoulders a few times. Getting a little bit of movement across the chest and shoulders. We'll go the opposite way as well. So here we're going to do some neck movements. So we're standing tall, maybe with the feet a little bit closer together if you like. I'm constantly adjusting because I'm a very Vata person. I like to be moving. But if you prefer to be steady and stable, you can. As you stand tall, we don't need to force tallness. We're just trying to find space, thinking about lengthening the sides of the neck, maybe letting the arms be nice and relaxed. We're going to bring the chin towards the chest and then gently roll the right ear towards the right shoulder, maybe taking the chin up a little bit on that side of the body, and then chin to chest and rolling left ear to left shoulder. And we're just going from side to side, trying to find a nice, easy movement. Here, we're not looking for a super stretch. We're looking to mobilize those muscles so that we can begin to warm them and then maybe find a little bit of extra space as we practice. Notice the connections between the movements of the head and the neck, the sensations underneath the jaw, or perhaps across the ear or the scalp or the chest or the upper back. For those who wish to, you can roll in complete circles, just finding a circle that suits your neck. If these neck movements do not suit you, feel free to just rest out here and do something that does, little side bends or up and down or gentle turns. If you are circling your neck going in the opposite direction, remember we are at the beginning of our practice. We're warming. We don't need to be doing as much as the body is able to do. And here, if you're not talking like I am, you can keep your mouth closed, which will further enhance that sensation of openness. Next time your chin is on your chest, you can allow it to rest there. Smile to yourself and then bring your head upright. Again, a nice little roll of the shoulders. So in autumn, we work with the meridians in Chinese traditional medicine of the lungs and the lower intestine. So the lung meridian starts at the front of the chest and goes down the inside of the arm to the thumb, and the lower intestine meridian starts on the first finger and goes up the back of the arm and travels over to the opposite nostril. So here we do lots of movements of the hands and the arms and the chest and shoulders, neck and head to help those meridians be in their best shape. So to offer them as much space so that energy can move and all of that jazz. So we're going to start with some movements of the shoulders and arms here. So taking your awareness onto your right side, we're going to just roll the right shoulder. And we're rolling forward, up, back, and down. Forward, up, back, and down. Very good. And if it feels comfortable to roll your shoulder, you can try rolling with a bent arm, making those circles with a bent arm. And if that feels good, you can extend your arm. But if it doesn't, you can go back to just using the shoulder or using a bent arm. No problem at all. Making circles around the body with an extended arm. It doesn't need to be rigidly straight. And then when you've done a few of these circles, you might like to take your awareness into your feet, firm the belly and the buttocks, and allow the rest of your body to move as your arm moves. And by doing that, we recruit side bend, back bend, twisting and spiraling motions for this movement of the shoulders. So the shoulder's not doing all the work. Also, so we get this lovely undulation through the rest of the body. You don't have to do Anything particularly fancy here? As long as you feel strong in the center. And we'll do just one more. Today we're being quite gentle, we're not going for a full matrix. So we'll rest that arm to the side. Take a few moments to feel the difference between the two sides, and then we work with the left shoulder, rolling forward, up, back, and down. Just the shoulder. Maybe it's different on this side. Maybe it feels freer or stiffer. Notice how it feels, and then if it feels good with the shoulder, with your bent arm. And remember, you can just use the shoulder for this whole practice if you prefer. If the bent arm feels good, you can try extending your arm. And if that feels good, then you can press into the feet, firm the belly and the buttocks, and allow the rest of the body to move as your arm moves, as your shoulder moves, to support that movement, but also to find space around the body and to find strength in the center. Notice when you're making a sort of forward bend or a side bend or a back bend or a spiral twist. You might be aware of different sensations on this side. We'll do just one more. When you're ready, you can bring yourself back to center and just feel the effects there. Allow the shoulders to drop down, lengthen through the crown of the head. Make any releasing movements that feel good. And then from here, we're going to focus a little bit on the spine and just do a little bit of basically standing cat-cow. So I'm turning sideways so you can see better. We're going to take the backs of the hands towards each other, scoop the belly in, reach the fingertips away. And then as you stand tall, take your elbows back, open your chest, look up, turn the palms upwards. So rounding through the spine, the whole of the arm rolls so the backs of the hands come towards each other. Tucking the chin to the chest, and then scooping the belly in as you stand tall, opening the palms, looking up, rounding through the spine. If you like, you can coordinate your breath and the movement together. You can inhale as you stand tall. You can exhale as you round. If you prefer, you can reverse that breath, or you can do a little bit of both. Inhale as you stand tall. Exhale as you round. Let's do just one more. Inhaling to stand tall. Exhaling to round. Inhaling to stand tall. And then float the arms down to the side. Just let the shoulders relax. Wiggle anything that needs wiggling. And maybe find a moment of stillness. Standing tall, arms nice and heavy, shoulders nice and heavy, crown of the head lifted. Maybe you already feel a little bit brighter inside as we switch on that internal sunshine. Very good. And let us take ourselves now into some different side bending as well. So feet comfortable distance for you apart. And we're going to start by just gently easing the hips to one side. We're going to ease the hips to the left and soften the right knee, and then ease the hips to the right and soften the left knee. So we want this to be a nice gentle movement so that people you practicing at home can find whatever suits you best. A little bit of effort across the belly muscles here to help, and just letting your neck and shoulders go with wherever the rest of the spine likes to go. Then if you wish to, you can add your arms. So you might slow the movement down a little bit to get that sensation of length down the long side, softness across the knee of the side that you bend towards. If you're coordinated the opposite way, it's fine. And then we can add an element of balance to this as well. So we're going to lift the heel of that softened knee and then try and come onto both tiptoes and then drop the left heel and lift the right heel. Onto both tiptoes, drop the right heel, lift the left heel. And as you do this from side to side, lifting the heel of the bent knee, but floating between the two we get a much steadier movement than we would do if we were just simply working on side bending. So we're more secure, we're more grounded, we're working on balance, we get an opportunity for length, feel that spaciousness down the sides of the body. And we'll do one more to each side. And finishing by coming onto both tiptoes, reaching the arms wide. We're going to float the heels down to the floor at the same time as we bring the arms down to the side, just nice and slow and steady. And again, finding that moment of stillness. And if you find that your breath wishes to sigh, like you have the impetus, the intuition you wish to sigh, then just simply sighing gently. Aces. Okay. So we've done everything that you need to do, the 6 movements of the spine. We've done some twisting, some forward bending, back bending, side bending, and spiraling. We've done lots of movement for the arms and the neck. If at this point, that is as much time as you have, you can go about your day and feel good about the fact that you've done some yoga. But if you'd like to do a little bit more, then join me as we come into a little bit more dynamic practice, and we're going to come to the mat. So the first thing we're going to do is something called the whoosh breath. So for this, we want to keep the knees nice and buoyant. We're going to do a forward bend to prepare first. So we're standing really tall, knees nice and soft, and then we're taking the hips backwards as we scoop the belly in and fold into a forward bend. As we come into the forward bend, just reaching elbow to elbow, or if you're comfortable, backs of the hands to the floor, and notice where the weight is on your feet. Is it forwards across your toes? Is it back across your heels? Is it somewhere in the middle? If you can, settle yourself somewhere in the middle. And then here you might like to gently turn your head from side to side. Or nod your head gently forwards and backwards. And if you've got your arms crossed elbow to elbow, it's useful for this next bit. Scoop the belly in and just gently begin to move the upper body from side to side. We want the back of the neck to be super relaxed and extended and long, and just finding a little bit of space across the low back as we work from side to side. Now, if you prefer not to move from side to side, if it doesn't suit you, you can stay in the middle, and just as you breathe deeply in and out, you get a gentle lift and lower of the body against the legs. We want the knees to be really soft here. You might begin to feel some length into the backs of the legs or across the low back or the buttocks. That's all good. And if you feel that you've held for long enough, you can, of course, come up. But if you feel comfortable here, you can allow the fingertips to come towards the floor and do a much bigger sway from side to side, relaxing the back of the neck. Just making sure you feel steady on your feet. When you're ready, coming back to the center, we're going to come up the way we came in. So we're going to look forwards, lift the arms out to the side, and then drop the bottom, press into the legs, really power through the legs to come into an upright position, and then reach the arms up as we lift the chest, lift the chin, and finally lower the arms down to the side. As you come into standing again, mountain pose is sometimes called stamastiti, standing steady. We want to find that steadiness in autumn as we allow the body to move with the energy of the season and then come back to a grounded, balancing stillness. Take a deep breath in and out here. So the forward bend we have just done was a nice, precise-ish, gentle forward bend with a little bit of movement, but the forward bend we're about to do is much more dynamic. So if you've never done whoosh breath before, please watch and then join in when you're ready. So in the whoosh breath, we want to keep the knees really nice and soft. And every time we breathe in, we're going to take the arms up, opening the chest. And when you breathe out, the knees bend deeply. You exhale, Fingertips graze the floor and you come back to an upright position. So it's a little bit of momentum in there and really nice and bouncy on the knees. So you're very buoyant in this practice. If you can't maintain that buoyancy, if your knees don't like that, then rest out of this. You can simply go up and whoosh the arms down to the side. You don't need to fold forward as well, okay? So we're going to do about 5 or 6 of these. We're going to breathe in, reach the arms out and up, and then soften the knees, and breathe in to come back up. Soften the knees, breathe in and up, and in and up, and breathe in and up, and last one, breathe in and up, and finish by breathing in and up. Float your arms down to your side. Find again that stillness, hopefully without moving the feet, so you feel an extra connectedness, extra groundedness. Observe the effect of your practice. Sigh out if you need to. And then from here, we're going to come down to the mat. So we're coming into whatever position feels good for you. I really like to come down to the mat by doing a form of squat. So the one that I'd recommend today is actually to come onto your tiptoes, a little bit of balance there, arms out in front, and use a point of focus, and then bend your knees straight forward. Come as low as you are able to go before reaching for the floor. And then you find yourself on hands and knees for a little bit of cat-cow and sassy cat. So hands underneath shoulders, there or thereabouts, spreading the fingers. Because we're working with the lung meridian, it's really important to have an extended thumb. So check that you don't bend your thumbs back towards your palms. Extend through the thumbs and the first fingers particularly. And then we're pressing into the top of the feet, pressing into the hands to find space underneath the body. And we want to begin with a little gentle roll of the shoulders, mobilizing the chest where the arms meet the torso and the upper back. So a little rolling of the shoulders, the arms remain quite lengthened here. There's no bending of the elbows, rolling the opposite way as well. And just allowing your neck to be nice and passive here. So not rigid, not avoiding movement, but just passive-ish. When you're ready, coming back to the center, and then again, pressing into the feet, firming your belly, gently looking forward, maybe softening the elbows, gliding the shoulder blades down, and then rounding through the spine, tucking the chin to the chest, and maybe scooping the belly in. You might want to breathe in as you come forward. You could breathe out as you come forward, it doesn't matter. And breathe the opposite way as you round under. And that just helps us to do a slow, steady movement. Slowing the breath down perhaps a little at the same time. Doesn't matter which way round you do it. There's no right or wrong. Explore both for balance. Maybe not in the same practice, but maybe the next time you come to the mat, do cat-cow the other way. When you're ready, you can come back onto your hands and knees, and we'll just bring the left hip and shoulder towards each other as we look to the left side, and then back through center, right hip and shoulder towards each other, looking to the right. And so this way we're doing a side cat, we're opening the sides of the body, a little bit from one side to the other. We'll do one more to the right. And then from here, just gently relaxing your hips back to your heels, kneeling upright or sitting in a different position if you prefer, taking the weight off your wrists and rolling through the wrists. So if you get sensitive wrists, then you might prefer to spend less time on the wrists. And you can do this practice in stages instead of all at once, resting the wrists in between. Let's roll the other way as well. But you could also practice with your fists on the floor instead of the hands, or practice with the forearms up on blocks to give you a bit of lift. And it's a really nice way to take weight off the wrists if you need to. We're going to come now into sitting, any comfortable seated position. I realize I didn't say at the beginning, but if you want a little block or a bolster or anything else to sit on, then you can. I like to sit and then just push myself right to the edge of my block. So only the flesh of the buttocks is held by the block. It gives my pelvis just enough of that tilt to feel like I'm sitting upright and feeling very lengthened in the back of the body. And then we will come to focus on our fingers and hands. So you don't have to sit cross-legged, you can kneel, you can sit with your legs wide, or you can sit with your feet on the floor and the knees bent. It's always a good option as well. Whatever, in a chair, you can do the whole thing standing if you like. So we're taking our hands, we're going to do Palmukta asanas, which are energy releasing postures for the hands. So we're reaching the hands out in front of us. They don't need to be held really high up. So if that tires your shoulders, you can bring them down, you can bring them back towards the body. But if you're able to do this with longer arms, you get that energetic, that opportunity to create space and energy movement down the meridian. So we're going to start by spreading the fingers wide and then wrapping the thumbs into the palms and wrapping the rest of the fingers around. Spreading fingers wide, thumbs to palms, other fingers around. Fingers wide, thumbs to palms, other fingers around. Let's see if we can do a few a little bit more flowy. So we don't really do it in 2 parts or 3 parts, but the whole movement is continuous. Let's do one more. And then here we're going to relax the hands. Breathe in as your hands come up. Breathe out as the wrists reach the other way. So breathing in, flexing. Breathing out, rounding through the back of the wrist. Breathing in. Breathing out. Breathing in. Breathing out. And then here we're going to bring the palms of the hands together. Just let the elbows rest onto the chest and interlace the fingers, and then do some figure of 8 movements with the wrists. And here you can squeeze your fingers towards each other and then gently release. Squeeze your fingers towards each other and gently release. And shake out the hands. You're going to reach the arms away from the body, make nice circles with the wrists, but with the fingers and thumbs long. And then making these circles, we're going to reach the arms around the body. And reaching as high up as feels comfortable. Don't be worried if you lift your shoulders. And then circling the opposite way. Allow the arms to come back around the body. And rest down to the side. We're going to take the hands towards the chest again, elbows close to the chest. Interlace your fingers the awkward way, and then keeping the elbows still, just rolling the wrists and in those figure of 8s again. Very good, and the opposite way as well. And then shaking the hands out, taking the thumbs into the palms, wrapping the fingers around, beginning with reaching the arms out to the side, circling the wrists in this position. If you use a computer often or do anything with your hands like knitting or crocheting or something like that, then this is really lovely. Raising the arms as we circle, finding space down the sides of the body, finding the lift in the shoulders if you wish to, you don't have to keep them down. And then rolling the opposite way as we reach the arms wide. Very nice. Resting your arms down to your sides. So here we're going to take the legs a little bit wider to do some seated work. So I realize I've sort of set myself up badly here, but hey, it's all good. We practice where we can. So we want to sit tall, sit on a block if you'd like to. I've let mine go, but you can sit on one if you'd like to. And we're just gently going to do a gentle side bend to one side and then to the other. So a little side bend one way and the other. And then we'll do one more to each side before hanging out a little bit and moving as we do. So this time we're taking the right arm over towards the left. We're going to keep the left shoulder nice and soft, the left elbow nice and buoyant, and just press the fingertips towards that left side. Feel where feels good to you, and then when you're ready to rest in your side bend, a little lift across the belly muscles, roll your chest up to look at the ceiling, and then roll your chest down to look towards your left leg. So a little spiral as we look up and spiral down. One more spiral up and spiral down. Here, as we spiral down, you can reach your right hand towards your left foot or in that general direction. Doesn't matter where you get to. And maybe just give yourself a little hold here for a slightly deeper forward bend. Or you might, once you've done that, you might like to walk your hands into the center, maybe separate the hands to come nice and wide, and just take a moment. You can sway your chest from side to side to begin with, and then scoop the belly in and just see if you can fold a little forward here without rounding in the upper back. So we're trying to keep the shoulders down, to keep the chest open, that sense of length at the back of the neck so we haven't dropped the chin to the chest. And when you're ready, you can pad your hands back towards you, sitting nice and tall. And we'll do the same thing on the other side. So we're just going to reach over to the right with the left hand, soften the right shoulder and elbow, just find a little buoyancy in the underneath of the body as we reach the left fingertips over, a little lift in the belly muscles. And when you feel that you've gone as far as feels comfortable, then just gently rolling the left shoulder to look up and rolling the chest to look down. So rolling the left shoulder back, looking up, rolling the chest forward to look down. One more rolling, this twisting, beautiful spiraling through the body and down. And as you come down, reaching your left hand towards your right foot, there or thereabouts. It doesn't need to go to the foot. You can go anywhere that feels good, that you feel you've got this spiraled forward bend. And always practicing where it feels good to your body. So if it doesn't feel good to spiral down, just staying a little bit higher up or just doing a straight forward bend instead. Now, if you can hold where you are for a moment, just taking a moment to do that, and then walking your hands to center. And it's the same thing. We're going to open the chest by gliding the shoulder blades back and down. Give a little gentle wriggle of the chest from side to side, and then see if we can fold a little deeper forward without rounding through the upper back. Lifting in the belly muscles always helps here, as does drawing the shoulder blades and the elbows close to the body. Take a deep breath in and out, and then gently walking your hands back towards you. I nearly said feet there. Hands back towards you. You're going to help the knees in. So hand underneath one knee to bring it back to center, and then underneath the other. And we just give ourselves a little gentle round here, as if we were doing a seated child's pose, chin to chest. A few deep breaths, sort of containing ourselves all up together here. And then from here, we're going to come onto our hands and knees again. We're really looking to find, just need a little bit more space here. We're really looking to find a child's pose. So here we're on our knees, and we're going to reach the hands forward towards the floor, maybe taking the forehead down if possible. If that's not possible with your knees together, simply keep your feet together and widen your knees, and you'll find this a little bit easier to get your chest towards the floor. Taking a couple of deep breaths here. And we're going to finish this practice by doing twisted child's pose. So the first side, we're going to tent the left fingertips and then reach the right arm underneath the body to the left, take the right side of the head and the right shoulder towards the floor, and then relax the left shoulder as well.
And it's the back of the right hand on the floor. We've got a little lift across the belly, but we've got that sense of real openness behind the right shoulder. We just take a couple of deep breaths here. The hips are back towards the heels. They might not touch, but in that general direction if possible. I've got one or two students who really find it quite challenging to get the hips back to the heels. So in that case, you can do this with your low body more upright, so your hips over your knees if you prefer. When you're ready, you can gently bring yourself back to your extended child's pose. Take a moment to reset in center, maybe forehead on the floor. And then tenting the fingertips of the right hand, sliding the left arm underneath, sliding the back of the shoulder and the side of the head towards the floor, softening the right arm as you do, and just promoting a touch of lift across the belly muscles before settling here in this pose for a few long, deep breaths. When you're ready, you can come back to the center. And then here, we're going to bring the knees closer together, but we're going to come up onto our hands and knees and reach the hands forward to do Anahata Asana. So we want the hips to be about over the knees and just gently bring the chest towards the floor and then round back away. You can even tuck your tailbone under. And then bring your chest towards the floor, looking forward perhaps, or looking down if it's better for your neck, and then rounding forward to come up. We're just pulsing, we're not holding at this stage. We can hold on this next one if you like, or you can continue to pulse. So here in Anahata Asana, the hips are basically over the knees. You can have the chin to the floor, the forehead to the floor, if you prefer. You can have as much of the arms to the floor as you like and feel that open space across the underarms and across the chest. Take a few deep breaths. When you're ready, gently rounding out, bringing the hands back towards you. And just taking a few cat-cows if it feels comfortable. You might like to do downward facing dog, which I feel is the right thing to do for me in this moment. You can take a child's pose if you prefer. If you're in down dog, you might like to gently move your head from side to side. Keep your knees nice and soft. Just undulate through the hips, the shoulders. Move in a way that feels good, supported by strong hands and feet. In your own time, bringing your knees down and taking any comfortable upright position. So this is a great time to do the dedicated relaxation for this class, or if you don't have time for another video, perhaps giving yourself just 5 minutes lying down. 7 minutes would be better, but 5 minutes will do. Lying down, listening to a piece of music that you enjoy, or if, like today here, it's a windy day, you might simply listen to the wind as a really nice connection with autumn and that sense of movement and fluctuation that we get in this season. I hope you enjoyed this practice. It is just a taste of what's available from yoga for autumn support. And I will see you for another practice again soon. Namaste.